The Virginia legislature, sort of because of Richmond's continuing water crisis, returned to work Wednesday for 46 days of what's loftily called the people's business. Some of that business is important to a lot of people, say tax breaks for a vast swath of Virginians. Maybe that means getting rid of the tax on tips or keeping the higher standard deductions we take on our income taxes. Some of that business is important to comparatively few people, say whether if they were hurt on the job. They qualify for cash benefits for so-called repetitive stress injuries like sore arms and hands from working at a computer all the time. And a lot of that business is important to the politicians. That's because this year, Virginians choose a new governor, a new lieutenant governor, a new attorney general, and decide control of the House of Delegates. It's one of the two bodies that make up the General Assembly and still has, following snap elections in Northern Virginia this week, the tiniest Democratic majority, just one seat. Because of those approaching elections, and first there'll be primaries to select Democratic and Republican nominees, the politicians are eager to do their jobs in Richmond and get on with the business of being candidates. That is the top priority of these folks. Because if they're not in office, they don't have a say in the big issues of the day. They don't have a role in identifying problems and crafting solutions, something that can cost millions, if not billions, in taxpayer dollars. And if they're not doing both, they're not getting the attention of big donors, the press, the interest groups, and their lobbyists. And that can cost them the election. At least that's what the politicians tell themselves. One person who shouldn't be bothered by all this is the person whose name won't be on the ballot, Governor Glenn Youngkin. Because Virginia law prohibits a governor from serving consecutive terms, Youngkin can't run this year. But because this is his last full year as governor and the last full legislative session of his 4-year term, Youngkin is in legacy mode. He's thinking about how he'll be remembered. That's why Youngkin wants to cut taxes again, and why he sounds somewhat Trumpy on illegal immigration and shrinking the federal government. Never mind that talented newcomers from abroad and the Washington bureaucracy are huge drivers of the Virginia economy. Bottom line, Youngkin hopes voters reward him by electing a fellow Republican as his successor. That's where the lieutenant governor comes in. Winsome Earl Sears, the putative Republican nominee for governor, was narrowly elected in 2021 on Youngkin's coattails. As lieutenant governor, she's the presiding officer of the Senate, and like the House, it has a one-seat Democratic majority. This means her tie-breaking vote could be crucial, determining whether Youngkin proposals live or die. So Earl Sears is likely to be vocal about the General Assembly this year, especially the Democrats, who figure the best way to trip her up is to knock down Youngkin's ideas. Funny thing, the Democrat likely to be Earl Sears' opponent won't be anywhere near the state capitol. Abigail Spanberger just retired from Congress to run for governor. She may have opposition for the nomination, though it's unlikely. What is likely, Spanberger may not hesitate to speak out on legislative issues, but that'll depend on the issues. What might she say about tax breaks? And how would she pay for them? How about education? Spanberger will for sure be all in on raising teacher salaries. Even Republicans are okay with that these days. But how does Spanberger feel about the Youngkin administration's efforts to tighten promotion standards, making it tougher for kids to move from grade to grade? Would she delay their implementation? It does not appear that Spanberger's said anything about that yet. So even though Spanberger may be largely out of sight during the legislative session, she won't be out of mind. Republicans such as Glenn Youngkin and Winsome Earl Sears will see to that. And usually while they're pushing a Republican wish list designed to draw a sharp contrast with the Democrat who wants Youngkin's job and will have to get past Earl Sears to claim it. For the Richmond Times-Dispatch, this is Jeff Shapiro.